Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. I think it's always interesting when you can put several different things together, things that you're hearing about in the news or things that people have talked about, and you go, yeah, but let's combine some things. Things you're hearing about. We know that people use guns in self-defense a couple of million times a year. Generally, they don't have to fire the gun, but it's still an effective means of self-defense. When you have your gun, maybe you point it at somebody, maybe they run away. Okay, that happens. We also know that throughout the country, different states have had laws passed where they allow teachers and school employees to carry guns. And there's a lot of uproar about that. That's terrible. Why would you do that? Yeah. You know, all sorts of actions are going to happen. Yeah. But it's rare when you actually are able to put like more than one of these things together and you have a self-defense use of a gun by a school employee. It happens, but it's rare. Well, one just happened out in Utah, and joining us to talk about that and give us some background on that is Clark Aposhian. He is, of course, a gun rights activist in Utah as well as a firearms trainer out there. Clark, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm chairing the Hickok for NRA President campaign currently.
Oh gosh, yeah, wasn't that great?
Wouldn't that be?
Oh man, you know what people may not know. Watched him on TV. In fact, I was going to ask him. I forgot. I wanted to ask because I don't know how tall Tucker Carlson is, but Hickok is about 6'7". He's huge.
So easy to spot it, like the SHOT Show.
Yeah,
at the SHOT Show, you can spot Hickok.
Hickok and his son John are. I think John may even be like 6'8". They're just towering above everybody going by the crowd. And I don't think Tucker is that tall, so I think they may have positioned Hickok a little bit downhill from him when they were talking.
Probably.
Yeah. All right, so tell us about this story that I saw in the news out there.
Okay, real quick, there was a elementary school, as is typical. They're out on the playground, which is adjacent to a park in Ogden, Utah, Lincoln Elementary, and school employee notices a guy, not a school employee, shouldn't be there, 41-year-old Ira Cox Berry, walk up to an 11-year-old girl, grab her, and start to take her away. School employee runs over and says, "Hey, let go of her right now," and the guy lets go. And he ushers all the kids into the classroom or into the building and locks the door.
Okay.
All right. So the guy, this Ira Cox Berry, 41-year-old, starts pounding on the window trying to gain access in.
Oh, geez.
School employee realizes he doesn't know how many more punches it's going to take before this guy gains entry. Doesn't know, if he has a fire. He pulls his gun, levels it right at the guy while he calls 911 and holds him there until the police arrive. Police arrive, arrest the guy for a forcible felony, attempted kidnapping. And forcible felony is the worst kind of felony that you can commit. And it's justified to literally use deadly force against a person who's in the commission of that. So anyway, that's the way it is here in Utah. And it kind of differs or contrasts with what happened in Idaho recently, where another school employee didn't use a firearm, and things worked out well for a female student who was shooting people. But it brought me to the recollection of an Al Capone quote that said, "You can get a lot more with a kind word and a gun than you can with a kind word alone."
So what's the history of teachers and school employees being able to carry guns in Utah?
In Utah, 22 years. We've had no pattern of problems in 22 years that we've been able to do it. You do not have to be a school employee. You don't have to get permission. You do not have to notify administration in any way whatsoever that you're carrying. Moms and dads can carry there as long as they have a Utah-issued concealed carry permit. That's under federal law. It's got to be issued by the state in which the school is located. Okay. And the district is not allowed in statute or in rule to modify or put restrictions on that. Some of the districts say, well, you have to have it on you, which is a good idea, but they wouldn't allow them to lock it in a drawer or something like that. Okay. But still, they technically can't do that even though we recommend you keep it on them anyway. And that's it. We've had no problem. We give free classes to school employees. In fact, that's how I met my wife, Tom.
Really?
I met Casey back in 2012, right after the Newtown school shooting, and we put on a huge class at a big sports arena free to school employees. So yeah.
I'll be a son of a gun. So it strikes me, and we say this a lot, and I know you do the same thing because you do outreach to the media, through through radio and everything else. And the story we keep telling people is, look, all the stats for the last 20 plus years are that self-defense gun uses number anywhere from an extremely low number of 500,000 times a year up to 3 million times a year in the U.S. We're not sure. And people say, well, that can't be possibly true because I never hear of it. You can't be saying that many people are getting shot. And the point is, no, generally speaking, you don't have to shoot somebody for it to be a self-defense gun use. This seems like the perfect example of what we're talking about.
That is you hit it right on the nose, is that there were no shots fired. And this is typically, I don't know, I'm taking a guess, 95, 98% of the time when a gun is introduced by a good person, it stops it, and they don't have to actually shoot it. Another thing the media loves to say is, the media and the hand-wringing bedwetters out there like to say is that, we shouldn't be arming teachers. Utah doesn't do it like that. We don't arm our teachers, our school employees, but what we don't do is we don't disarm them either.
Well, that's a great way to put it, because you're right. One of the things they say was, we shouldn't be arming teachers as though you're going to force teachers to carry guns. I actually don't know of anyone who has ever suggested that. Now, what they do say is that you should allow it. You should not, or even better, let's put it this way, you should not prohibit it so that people who want to have a gun for their own protection as well as to protect the children, can do that. I mean, how many times have we seen, Clark, school shootings where they have to wait for the police to show up? I mean, and look, if the police get there in 4 or 5 minutes, that's quick response time, but that is 4 or 5 minutes too long.
And you're exactly right. And we always see the media, they focus on the huge response, the trucks, the guns, the dogs, the equipment, the ATF, the FBI, the sheriffs, the police, they're all there after the fact. It won't matter how many people show up after the fact. You can't make up for that, but you can if you had one person with a gun.
Imagine this kidnapping attempt if you said, okay, I'm going to respond to this in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, really, That's what we're talking about. And he said, okay, I'm watching this guy trying to kidnap an 11-year-old girl. I'm going to set my watch, and when 5 minutes is up, if he hasn't stopped, and if he's still here, I'm going to go do something about it. It's insane. It was crazy.
But that is literally what's happening, though. That's actually what's happening.
So, we're going to give them 5 minutes to do whatever it is they want to do. Or we can let the people who are on the scene have their own guns for protection. And look, you're a trainer. Even if you have no training, you can still be somewhat effective. If you have even just a little bit of training, you can increase that effectiveness many, many times more than that.
Exactly. And, and we tell folks, we aren't expecting the teacher. We expect the teachers, we expect everyone that carries a firearm for lawful self-defense to engage up to the level of their training. And that's what we typically see is people will only engage up to the level of their training.
Excellent point. Clark, thank you so much. How do people keep up with what you're doing these days?
UtahShootingSportsCouncil.org. I have a fantastic board with Utah Shooting Sports Council. We can always use, memberships, and you can just sign up for free, though, and get our alerts and that type of thing. So, always happy. Thanks for the plug.
Oh, you bet. And everybody needs to belong to their state groups because that's a lot of times where the rubber meets the road there. Clark Aposhian, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, you take care.